Hey guys, I want to take a minute before the podcast starts to give a special shout out to Albo Farm as they have hit episode number 200. Pierce Stockdale, the man behind this, he's fucking the man. We have a great time every time we get together, and his like the amount of episodes that he's accumulated and like the consistency and drive that he has is a huge motivator for me. And like that's the reason why this is we're at episode 135. Like it's almost been like a friendly competition in a way. Like I've been like, I need to beat this motherfucker in episodes. Like I need to like get more episodes than him. So that's why we're doing it twice a week and like at triple digits. But it's I love the guy. He's friendly. Anyways, I just wanted to give that special shout out because he said 200. I think it's a big deal. So go check out his episode. That's going to be in the description below. And here are the sponsors. Hey guys, I want to take some time to promote a very special local show from our friends both at Stutterbox and Underground Ranch. If you want a weekend away from the madness of life, Field Trip 2022 is calling your name. They have a stacked EM lineup, hip-hop sessions, and more. Who knows? You might even see yours truly there. Actually, you're going to. So come take a trip with us September 16th and 17th in Chelsea, Iowa for a weekend of music and fun. Tickets available now in the link below. Trying to find your next spot? Are you trying to find your next motherfucking spot for a show or event? You've been in your mother's basement for 10 years, making beats. You think you've perfected your craft. What's the next step? Getting out there. And Starbucks can help you with that. If you're looking for a solid team of people to get you started with your next performance or event, this is the company to contact. They're bringing back Field Trip this fall, September 16th and 17th, like we said previously. So what are you waiting for? Head over to Stutterbox Productions' Facebook page for all of your needs today. Guerrilla Graphics Design Agency can provide you with top-tier effects and production value. Their team is everything you can ask for, including professional equipment and a stellar end product from top to bottom. Head over to GuerrillaGraphics.com for all of your design needs today. That's GUERRILLAGRFX.com. Hello, everybody. This is McAllister's podcast. I'm your host, as always, Cole McAllister. Today, we're joined by Zachary Daniels. Fuck, the whiskey man. Whiskey's got my. As I pour more, and the whiskey's got my. It's gonna be an awful podcast now. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me on the show, man.
Yeah, no problem. I was listening to your music today. I think you just have the single, right?
Yep. Right now, it's just the single out. But I'm working on. I should say I'm working on. I am working on releasing a 6-track EP that song, the single is from.
Okay.
Everything's already done and ready to go. It's just getting prepped to launch.
Just sitting on it.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, that's the, planning out the releases and all that. So I guess just tell me a little bit about yourself, like what got you started into music and all that.
Oh, yeah. As Coleman said at the beginning, my name is Zachary Daniels, for those who don't know me. And I have been a musician for almost my entire life. I grew up in a very musical family.
Okay.
But I have been doing music on and off seriously for about 11 years now. I started writing songs around 2008, but I wasn't really doing anything with them. I was just like, hey, this is fun. But I started my first actual band that tried to play shows and stuff in 2011.
Okay.
And it's 2022. I had to do the math the other day. I was like, how long have I been doing this shit? And I was like, man, I'm old. But it's been about 11 years now.
Wow. So you were kind of talking before this, like you were like with the you were or maybe I was listening because I listened to a little bit of Peter's podcast with you. Mm-hmm. We were talking about that Alba Farm.
Yep.
Thought I'd represent since they're he just hit 200 episodes.
Really? Holy
Yeah.
shit, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's the man. He's the man.
I love that show. That was really fun to be on.
Yeah. Well, and he has like a very like niche audience and a very niche like type of thing that he's doing, and it's worked, and like his dedication is inspiring, honestly.
Right.
Like it's a lot of it's propelled me a lot to the frequency that we're at and what we're kind of doing. That's really pushed me. But so I didn't listen to the whole thing, but I was listening to the first part of that podcast. And you were kind of talking about how you were with a group and then you kind of all disbanded. Like, not to repeat yourself, I guess, but I'm curious, like, what transition between like you being in a group to like kind of focusing more on like a solo career?
So, yeah, I've been in groups for several years, and been in like probably 4 or 5 bands at the time, and my last group, we were doing really well. It was a group that, like, I didn't just join a band, like I built it from scratch. And we were doing so well. At least I thought so. Other people might disagree. I thought so. And but then, it was just kind of a life happened and one thing after another, and people just kept, like, they would quit, and then somebody else would join for a while, and then somebody else would quit, and we just weren't gaining any traction, and it just got really frustrating. And it was just kind of, I will admit there's a little bit of selfishness involved, but it got to a point where I'm just like, I need to be able to be able to put out music more consistently. And it's just, it's easier to, as much as I absolutely adored my bandmates, I always said that they made my songs sound 20 times better than they are. And with the folks that helped me on this current EP, no exception. But I was just like, it was just so much easier for me to be able to sit down and just build everything myself and then take it from there. And without it was easier without life getting in the way, basically. Sure. So that way I had contingencies and we were able to make sure things got released and blah 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 blah. But humans are human.
Yeah, sure.
I hold no contempt.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: like, how much of it would you like of that decision would you say was like, clashing, maybe clashing with your bandmates versus just like ease? Because I can imagine like, in this day and age versus like 40 plus years ago when like the peak of bands was really up there, I imagine there's a lot less availability and time to like all get together and kind of do things versus like just being able to do it with the computer.
Right. Yeah, I would actually say that ease was probably the majority of it.
Okay.
Because if my bandmates and I ever had a problem, like, we were able to solve it pretty easily, weirdly enough, because we weren't just band. Like, usually whenever I find someone to work with as a bandmate, I'm like, can I consider this person a friend as well? Because it's like, we're going to be spending a lot of time together.
Sure.
And so it's like, I always say I have 2 rules. I'm like, can they play and can they hang? And the second one is probably more important than the first. It's like, you can learn an instrument. You can't learn a good personality. But no, a lot of it was just, they had different things going on in their lives. A few of them had to move for jobs, and like the jobs paid boku bucks. So I'm like, I'm not going to be that. Am I allowed to swear on your podcast?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
cool. 100%. I just want to make sure. I'm not going to be that asshole who just goes like, no, you have to stay here. Like, what would I get out of that? 1, I would fail, first off. But 2, it's just, it's no fun for anybody. So I'm just like, I understand. Like, as your friend, I'm super excited for you. Go do your thing. But then I'm like, fuck, now I have to start over.
Yeah. Let me ask you this though. Is there like an element of that you, because I guess how long ago did you split?
We split like maybe 10 months ago. Somewhat close to a year. Yeah.
So I guess that's not that much of time, but like, I guess even in that time difference, like, is there an aspect of like being in a band that you miss, like collaboration? Like, do you wonder that like maybe, your music might be missing something without that collaboration?
it is nice to have that live collaboration. It's like I still love to jam with people and stuff like that. And actually, like with the way that I actually went about to record this this disc, I think I found a way, and this was a huge experiment. But I tried to find a way to kind of merge the two things where it's like, I still had. I was still able to control somewhat of a deadline, but also be able to cooperate with other folks. And because I did actually hire out some people to help me. I am a bit of a jack of all trades. I'm a multi-instrumentalist, but I had to find people that were like a master or a lot better at their instrument than me. So I reached out to some of my friends that I'm like, okay, you've either worked with me in the past enough to know my style, or I just have seen you play and I have a lot of faith in you. And so we were able to kind of get together or talk over the internet for a brief amount of time and kind of work on things, and then they would record their stuff at like their house, and then send me the stuff, and then I'd get it mixed. But so it was kind of cool to be able to do that, but it was a huge experiment because I'm flying by the seat of my pants. I'd never done it like this before. But I do greatly enjoy being able to, perform live with people. There's like a nice, like a almost liquidity to it when you're performing live with other people, because like when you get a good flow going and a good connection going, you can switch things up, and it's just a lot more free than freeing than trying to do it purely with a computer, because like with that you have to work to a click track and do like it's a little bit more rigid, but than with live performances. But just with the way that my current like life and everything is going at the moment, which everything's fine, but it's still just.
Let's get into it. What's really getting you down, Zachary? No, I'm kidding.
No, I mean I do have depression, so.
Hey, you're on the right show, man. Mania and depression are specialities here on the McAllisters podcast. What were you saying?
Oh no, it's just easier for me to be able to still put out material this way and not have as much of a strain on both my and the musicians that I work with, and on anybody's schedule. So that way they can still do whatever they want to do if they have different projects or whatever. But then it's just like, hey, like I'll give you some money and then you help me write parts to these songs, and then you can go on your way, and I'll obviously give you credit. Like
yeah. So what was a lot of it recorded like at home like that, or did you pay for studio time, or like what was the? Let me ask you this: like, how much did your EP cost? Would you say?
So with like graphics and mixing and all that stuff, I paid around like I would say about $500-$600. But I actually had a good buddy of mine who actually played bass on this EP as well. I originally reached out to him to play bass because he's played with me in the past, and I reached out to him and I was like, hey, I'm working on this project, can I hire you to play bass? And he's like, yeah, that's fine. And then while we were working on stuff, he just kind of took up the mantle of being the producer, and because he has like studio equipment in his basement, and he has quite an ear for production, and he just started like throwing together stuff just for fun, and I was like, you want to just produce this? And he's like, yeah, I can do that. So, and we never talked about a price, and he's just like, because this is the first thing, just pay me what's fair. So I threw him, I threw him as much money as I could anyway.
Damn.
I'm poor.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, that's actually like a really good price for the entire 6-track EP.
I thought so. I was just like, I was trying to think. I'm like, he's like, just whatever you think is fair. I'm like, what's fair? I was like, well, 6 tracks. I know he's worked really hard and it sounds super awesome. So I can throw you $400 for that.
Damn. Well, shit, man, that's cool that you're doing that. Have you performed any of your new stuff yet? Have you gotten a chance to do that?
Yeah, I've performed the single, actually. I've had written for a while, and I've performed that one live and with like live streams and junk.
Okay.
A couple different times. Up in the Cedar Valley. It's not a thing anymore, unfortunately. It just got kind of shut down, but there was a place called Spicoli's that they had like a lot. They were during the pandemic. They were doing live streams of bands and stuff, and I did a solo show for one of those, and I played Empty Eyes, which is the single, obviously, and but the other songs I haven't. Let me think. I don't think I've actually played any of the other songs live before.
So how would you go about doing that live? Would you like have the people that worked on the project come perform with you? Would you hire other people? Like, have you thought about that at all?
I would probably. I mean, my initial thing is I would reach out to the folks that I worked with, because they're all like native to Iowa and within traveling distance. So depending on where the show was, but if like for some strange reason none of them, or like somebody out of that group couldn't do it, I would have to reach out to somebody else and just be like, hey, because I know a couple other guitarists, but it's like stylistically would have to practice on things and stuff. But I would definitely consider it, but I'm not 100% positive at this juncture if I'm going to be playing anything live right now. This is mainly just a studio project, but I've gotten I've gotten at least the single on a couple of radio stations already.
Oh wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. But I've talked to Rock 108 out of Cedar Rapids. They've been playing it on their local music show on Sunday nights. I'm in talks with IPR, and I've also got a contact who runs like an online radio station. He's based out of Australia, and he's confirmed.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he's confirmed that he's going to be playing it as well.
So so not to interject, but like, how did you manage to like get those like placements, like those radio spots?
Networking.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the Australia guy I met through Facebook. We had a mutual contact, and I was just like, I basically put out a thing on my personal Facebook. I'm like, hey, I'm looking for radio stations, and this is actually back when I was still in my live group, which was known as the Zachary Daniels Band, and I put out a thing. I'm like, hey, I'm just looking for like radio stations or anything that I could contact for potential airplay. And one of my friends tagged this guy, and he's just like, hey, can you help out my friend? And so I messaged him, and he's just like, send me what you got, and I'll take a listen. And I sent him the song at the time, and he's just like, yeah, we'll play it. And then I sent him this song. I'm like, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but can you, like, you played my other band stuff, can you play this too? And he's like, yeah, I'll play that song. That's awesome. Yeah. So yeah, that's actually supposed to be launching this weekend. I can't remember if he told me it was Saturday or Sunday, but it's supposed to be launching this weekend. Okay, so when this episode comes out, it'll probably be, because I think we're gonna drop this Saturday. Oh, okay.
But yeah, man, listening to your music, I really like some of your stuff. What would you say is kind of like your main influence?
So, a lot of I don't really narrow it down to like one band or one artist. A lot of my influences fall under like the like 90s to very early 2000s, like pop rock.
Yeah, I kind of sense that. Listening to your stuff.
I've had a lot of people tell me that like I sound like I'm from the 90s, and I'm like, that is a compliment, thank you, because that's kind of my favorite genre of music is like 90s pop rock alternative, like Blink 182, Weezer, a little bit of Oasis, here's Wonderwall. But so I really, really like those bands, and it just kind of comes through when I write. But I also kind of pick and grab from a couple other things. I've got some songs that sound a little bit more punky. I've got some songs that are more on like just the pure pop side. And so there's a little bit of a spectrum to it, but a lot of it is just 90s to 2000s stuff.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that. Let me ask you this, because, speaking of Follow Before I'm here, I've had this discussion with Peter. Because, I'm a big hip-hop head.
Sure.
Like, a lot of the people that we have on are, like, rappers. And, I love rock and, that kind of music. But I do kind of wonder, like, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. Like, has that kind of music kind of fallen out of the mainstream? And do you think that, like, it's kind of dying out in a sense? Because this might just be my bias, but like I don't really hear about like big bands coming out anymore. It seems to be like solo artists, and obviously you're a solo artist, so that's kind of a different perspective as well.
Sure.
But I don't know, like, what are your thoughts on that?
So are you talking about like rock music, or what are you?
I guess both, like rock music in general, and like also kind of the idea of like forming a band and like performing together as a group.
So I think that is actually a very interesting question. I think the idea of forming a band, I don't really believe that. I don't really think that base idea has been. Okay, let me reword this. Yeah, I don't think that forming a band is falling by the wayside. I think it's keeping the band going, because bands are work. Like like a lot of people are like, we'll get together with my bros or my friends, every gender, and we'll just jam out and play. But then it's like, okay, well now I have to book shows and we have to make merch and we have to do this and this and this, and not everybody wants to do that.
Yeah, sure. But don't you think that's always been the case though?
Yeah, I just think it's
think it's gotten worse?
Yeah, I think it's gotten a little bit worse, just from what I've seen. Because I still think that people, and maybe it has dipped slightly, especially since the pandemic. I think the pandemic has definitely kind of put a nail in that.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Because a lot of bands, especially local, a lot of bands died during the pandemic because nobody could go anywhere and they couldn't practice. And so, we're 2+ years into it. So a lot of so I think like I still think that like especially like younger kids and people like still have a positive outlook when it comes to wanting to start a band, but then it's just like I think it's just keeping it going. And especially if like there's a lot of people that like a lot of artistic folks, myself included, I've fallen into this as well, where it's like you get you're all excited to play the show, and then your first couple of shows usually suck unless you're unless you're super lucky, and you just kind of hit lightning in a bottle. Like your first couple shows usually suck, and once people realize like, oh, I'm not instantly good at this, then they get like dejected, and there's like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Oh, well, I think that's just the artist grind in general.
Yeah. Oh, and that's why I said like I've definitely felt that with previous groups. I'm just like, oh, that didn't go as well as I wanted to. Well, like, should I even keep doing this? And then like my friends would be like, yeah, you need to keep doing this. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll keep doing this.
Yeah. Do you get like anxiety or the jitters before shows, during shows still?
All the time.
Has that gotten better over the years? Because you've been doing this for a while.
Yeah. I would say yes, in a way, because I always get pre-show jitters, but it's usually like 10 minutes before I go on.
Okay. So it's at least for a short amount of time.
It's like it's kind of like that, oh shit, this is happening moment. And no matter how prepped I am or whatever, like it happens every single time. But because it happens every single time, I kind of know to expect it. And so that in that sense, it's gotten better because I'm like, all right, let's just work through this. It's going to be fine. I know this is going to happen. And then once I get up on stage and we really kick things off, I'm like, all right, let's go. I'm done.
Fuck yeah. Well, that's awesome that you like have that, that ambition and that, thought behind it. Because like, yeah, I have a fucking live show coming. We're doing a live podcast here in a couple days.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of like a small private event, but that's almost worse in a way because like I'm only like doing a podcast to like 4 people. That's gonna be. I mean, not that it's gonna be bad, but like it's more interpersonal. So
sure.
I got you. But I mean, we've crammed like I think we've crammed like 6 people in this place before.
Oh
yeah, like I'll have like podcasts to the people and I'll have like 3 people, including like Molly's usually helping. Like, and then, yeah, man, it's podcasting. It's crazy. I just had Reggae Rapids on the show.
Oh, cool.
They're a 6-member group.
Oh
yeah, so I went to their I went to an undisclosed location and at their festival, and we kind of like all did a podcast outside. There were 7 of us. So yeah, man, I get that. You get but I think when you do it long enough, you eventually get over that hump,
Yeah.
A little bit. I mean, it's always still there, but like it's different, it's different than like what you were saying before, the people who like will get emotional and they'll do it like, once or whatever, once or twice, and they'll, they can't get over themselves.
Right. And yeah, but I do know what you mean about the podcast, because I don't do it anymore, but I actually did produce podcasts for a couple years.
Oh shit.
Yeah. My good buddy of mine and I started up a group, and he's still doing it. It was just too much for me, and I had to bow out.
Sure.
But I also wanted to go back to music, so I was just like, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, we started up a couple podcasts, and he's still doing it. And
what was the podcast that he does?
So the production group that we started was called the Record Button Production Group, and we have, or I say we, they now have 2 podcasts that are still running. Well, one is currently in production. The other one is on a temporary hiatus, but it's supposed to be coming back here soon. Okay. The one that's currently running is called the Game Masters Speakeasy, which is tabletop gaming based, so like D&D, Pathfinder, all that stuff. And I'm
sorry, but why am I not surprised?
Yeah, right. But we have 2 hosts. I'm not like neither of us, my partner and I, neither of us like really talk on any of the shows. Yeah, I'll take one more. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
We have hosts and stuff, and but yeah, our hosts talk about just like different tabletop gaming and things, and they, from like a game master's perspective or like a DM's perspective, and like if people need help starting up their own games and stuff, they can get tips and tricks and stuff. But they also talk about, because it's a speakeasy, they also talk about beer and different kinds of alcohol.
Okay. So it's kind of like a free for all around tabletop. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. And then the other one, this one is on hiatus, but they're working on bringing it back on the air. Like, it's still on, like, if you go on Spotify and stuff, like, you can still listen to the past episodes. It's called Why Did I Write This? It's more of a comedy-based show, but it features 3 girls who, they go over, like, a bunch of the just very shitty writing that they've made in the past. So like a lot of fanfics, poetry, stuff like that. And they just read them out loud, and they're just so horrible. And they know they're horrible. Like this show was their idea. But it's just hilarious. And so they read through the shows, and like there's background music and everything. And so it's more, what's the word? Like you're there.
Yeah, kind of what we do, like just free for all in the moment.
Yep.
Conversation type of thing.
Yep. And so and then they just crack jokes about it and just tear it to pieces. It's pretty fun.
Cool. So go back to like the tabletop D&D. I'm curious. Do you still do that? Are you still involved in the?
I am not. Okay. Like I am in a way, because I'm friends with all of them and everything, and like I'll help where I need to.
Here, cheers, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah. Great having you on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. But I'll help where I can, but I'm not like a full-time guy. They're just like, they might come to me for like technology stuff, because I did a lot of the recording and actual like mixing and production and stuff like that.
Okay, so you weren't even necessarily like involved, like or did you like actually play? Like, do you have a background in playing it, or you just kind of helped?
No, I do have a background in playing it.
Okay.
I don't have a giant background in like D&D and stuff like that. Like all the other guys have a way larger background in it, but I do play. But I mostly, like, I guess I was mostly just the tech guy for that one, but then like I'd be in the room while they recorded everything, so I would be learning I would be learning things before the listener got to learn. So I'm like, cool, I get my own tips and tricks for stuff.
Damn.
So that was fun getting to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like I tried to get into D&D. But like I just fucking, I don't know. It all just went over my head. I felt like I did like one session. It was weird because like I was with like 5-6 other people and we were like smoking and drinking. Just like not great. I imagine not a great environment for that in the first place. And then like
you'd be surprised.
But we did like a 2-hour session or whatever, and they're like, you were 20% of the way through creating your character. I'm like, nah, this is not for me.
Yeah, I will say the character creation process in most tabletop games sucks.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
And so like it's one of those things where that's a hump you kind of need to get over. Some people love the character creation because it allows them to be like super creative with like forming a background for their guys and
those sound like people I don't want to play with.
But then there's plenty of people, myself included, that it's like that's like I don't really like I'll make a basic guy, but I just want to like shoot spells and swing my sword around and stuff like that, and let's go kill dragons. Like that's kind of what I that's where I kind of like to hang out at. But unfortunately, and to do one, you have to do the other. So you otherwise it's not going to work out for everybody else.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I just prefer to stick to my RPGs.
Sure.
It's simple.
Yeah.
You ever play Stardew Valley?
Yes, I have played Stardew Valley. I have it on my Switch. I have not played very much of it, though. I played a little bit of it, and then my guy got exhausted because I ran out of stamina. I had to go to my landlord or whoever the hell it was, had to take me to the hospital, brought me back, and was super pissed, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. I love to watch people play it. Yeah. And because it's super calming, and it's like my fiance loves to play Stardew, so like I'll watch her play it every now and again. I'm just like, yeah, this is nice, and then I have to do it, and I'm like, what do I do again?
Yeah, me and Molly, my girlfriend who isn't here, /assistant /podcast slave. She really got me into it. And, like, I resented it but like I would watch her play it and I'd be like, this is so stupid. You're just like chopping down trees and like, but like, or maybe, talking about depression earlier, maybe I'm just depressed. I think that's the real reason I'm getting into this game, is because I myself am depressed.
It helps. It helps.
Does it help though?
Like it helps. It takes your mind off of things. Because it's all repetitive, and you just like you can shut your brain off for a while. I played plenty of other games that are very similar in like very similar thematically to Stardew. And but there's just no stamina involved, and so I'm like, I can play this. Like, let's go. One of them is called Cozy Grove. I was addicted.
Oh my god, Molly's playing that right now. That's the one that she's doing right now.
I was straight addicted to that game for months, and then I finally beat it. Beat the story, and I just found out that there's DLC for it, and I'm like, and it's like there's new bears at the island and everything. I'm like, shit, now I'm gonna get addicted again.
Fuck. What would you say is like your all-time favorite game? You a big gamer?
I am, actually.
Okay. Again, I could have guessed.
All good. But no, I've been gaming for a lot of my life. Actually, I started with the Sega, but
tight.
But my all-time favorite game is very difficult. I know that one of my all-time favorite series is Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts and The Legend of Zelda. Both of those have a tight grip on my heart. But I don't think I have like one all-time favorite game. I don't know if this is an official title, official term. I have heard other people use it, but only like in a small group. I have what I consider to be gamer's ADD. So I basically like I'll play a game for a while and then we're like, ooh, a new game. Like and and then you play it for a while and then like you try to go back to the old game and you forget where you are, so you rage quit and start over.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's just normal ADD, bro.
Oh yeah, maybe. But it only really happens with video games. So
I see.
But yeah, it because of that, it took me like 4.5 years to beat Fallout New Vegas the first time.
Oh damn! Well, hey, I was just gonna say, like Fallout New Vegas, that's my all-time. I would consider that my all-time favorite game.
That's a good one. I'm
4.5 years though, bro. Holy shit!
Something like that, yeah. So one day I was like, I picked it up. I'm like, I still haven't beaten this game, and then I realized it was the last time that I had played it, I was trying to get through the Dead Money DLC, and I was just like, nope, I legit rage quit that one. I hate that DLC so much.
Yeah. Well, not all of them suck, but I've heard some of them are pretty. I haven't actually gotten through all of them because
the only one that I don't like is Dead Money, and that's the one where you have to go to the Sierra Madre Casino, and they take all of your equipment, like they take your armor and everything, and they give you like this explosive collar. And if you try to like escape or anything like that, the villain blows you up, blows off your head, and you have to like find equipment throughout the place and try to break into the casino because the guy wants like this treasure that's supposed to be in there.
Oh damn!
And there's these like mutated humanoid creatures that are all around the place, and they'll try to kill you if you don't basically like completely dismember them, they will just get right back up and attack you. Yeah, it's a whole thing. And at that time, I was down to one stim pack. I was almost dead. And like none of my weapons had ammo, and I had to I had no choice but to just try to bolt through this room full of these humanoid things, and I died every single time. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I quit. I'm gonna start over. And then I'm just like, I'm just sticking to the story. I'm gonna go. And then I finally beat it.
Damn, dude. Yeah, fuck that. That kind of makes me want to pick up Fallout New Vegas again, play Dead Money. No. But I don't know, like I fucked it up with my computer. I put through too many fucking mods on it.
Oh yeah, that'll happen.
But like that, I mean, the mods that have come out for that game the last couple of years especially are crazy. Like they have a car you can drive now, and like they have
I heard about the car. Yeah,
there's a bunch of crazy shit, man. The modding is like, that's where it's at. This computer is pretty powerful. Like, I'm able to do my film stuff, but like if I had like a little bit extra, like, I was able to do that'd be beautiful.
Yeah, I'm myself personally, I'm not much of a mod person, but I do completely understand why people do it. I've seen a few. I have heard about the car mod, and I'm like, I kind of want to do that one. Yeah. But because it's like the only Fallout game otherwise that has a car, I believe, is Fallout 2.
Oh yeah, I think you're right.
I believe it's either Fallout 1 or Fallout 2, but I'm fairly positive it's Fallout 2.
You play those ever?
Yes, I have both of them. I haven't gotten very far.
Yeah, they're very different. They're very hard
because they're point and click, and
that's a rage quitter for sure. Those games, holy shit.
Yeah,
I've played that shit.
I've gotten stuck on Fallout 1 more times than I care to admit. But it's still a good time. The Fallout series is another big one for me. The first podcast type show I ever produced with my friend, we did an audio drama, kind of like War of the Worlds kind of thing. But it was based around the Fallout games. It's called Wasteland Active Radio.
Oh, fun.
And we had a bunch of different characters, and like my friend and I, we played multiple characters, but my main guy was a super mutant named Atlas, who actually had enough. He was kind of like Fox from Fallout 3, but he was a huge asshole. Like he was just a pretentious asshole because he knew how to read and like cared about fine literature and shit. But like if anybody got in his way, he would just rage and just beat the fuck out of him.
So I'm curious about that. Like, so it was like almost like a radio, like an old radio show. Like, I guess, a dialogue and everything.
Yep.
Did you guys like pre-write all that? Did you improv it? Like,
nope. It was a script.
Okay.
Yep. My cohort wrote out. He DM. Speaking of D&D, he DMs D&D campaigns all the time, so he knows how to write out everything very well and like create worlds. So he created a whole plot and wrote out scripts and everything, and then we would just we would record everything, and then I would mix it all together and do sound effects and the whole nine. I would make some just like ambient music in the background with my MIDI keyboard and that stuff's all still on Spotify and everything like that too. So we did that for about a year and a half, almost 2 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
How many episodes did you guys do?
Like 54.
That's quite a few.
Yeah.
54 different scripts?
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude.
Because we had 52 story episodes, and then we had... Was it 50? It was either 50 or 52. I can't remember for sure, but because we had a couple like offshoot episodes.
Just fuck around, kind of.
Yeah, like we had one that was like an April Fool's episode, but the real April Fool's joke was the fact that we misjudged our calendar and didn't release it on time.
Oh yeah, I've been there, man.
And then also like we did like a Christmas / holiday episode. And we made it in a week because we couldn't make a decision fast enough, but it was like a 15-minute episode. We whipped it together in like a week. And it's all in prose. It was like, it was probably my favorite thing we've ever done. And we also did a Halloween-esque episode, which was fun, but,
well, that's an insane amount of work, man.
Yeah.
Like, what we do in the podcast, like, we just basically bullshit. Like, I can't imagine, like, doing all that work for one episode.
That was part of the reason why I had to back away from it all. Because, especially doing, like, 3 shows and then having just so much on my plate, having to do that and, like, social media work and everything. Because I've got to... Like, I went to college for marketing and stuff like that, so, like, I'm the only one... Like, I was one of the only people on our team that knew how to really work social media, so they're like, we're gonna need you to do that. And I'm like, okay, no problem. And that was at first. That was at the beginning, and then after a while, I'm like, this is a problem. And so I just got so overwhelmed, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And I also just really want to get back to my music, because that's where my heart is. As fun as this is, because I had a blast doing everything, getting to work with different people and everything, but I was just like, it's just way too much for me. And it's more than I thought I was signing up for. So
yeah, it really is. Like, the consistency you have to do with something like a podcast it's a lot, man. It's crazy. Let me ask you a random question. What do you think about nihilism?
What do I think about nihilism?
Yeah.
I think it can get really depressing.
That's fair.
But I don't know. I think,
Hmm.
never really. No, I'm not gonna lie. I've never really thought about it before. Cause like I know what it is, and I've got a couple buddies that are more depressed than me and really see things in a nihilistic perspective. But I would say that in the right circumstances, it can be a useful perspective.
I agree.
But I think in the overarching scheme of things, it's... I shouldn't say like unnecessary, because everything is somewhat necessary, I think, at least when it comes to perspective. But I would say it can cloud your judgment, because like I'm having depression and everything, like I'm used to seeing things through a pessimistic lens, but at the same time it's like I don't think anything is that dark.
Well, I don't think nihilism is necessarily pessimistic. I think it's just acknowledging that there's no purpose. I don't think that I think you can take that in a positive mindset. I don't think it needs to be pessimistic.
Right. Yeah, and I can see what you mean in that regard. But yeah, I think it's like it's one of those things where it really just depends on your situation and how you're looking at things. In that case, then, because it's like you can look at it with a positive light. It's like, yeah, there's no purpose. I can do what I want. Yeah, like.
Yeah, well, there's something like really freeing in that. I feel like, but sorry, what you were saying?
But I think that I think it's just one of those things that I don't really think that there is I don't think it's a one size fits all kind of thing.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Sure. No, I agree with that about anything. Yeah, actually, yeah. But yeah, I definitely agree with that. I don't know. It's just a random question. It's like a Cal Stars podcast, man.
Sure. No, I'm game for it.
Trump 2024. What do you think?
No.
You think it's gonna happen?
No.
I really hope it doesn't. But
no, I hope not too.
Did you see he just got raided?
Yeah. He's being targeted and he's attacking our country. And it's a witch hunt. Demand a recount. I did hear about that. Because he got targeted. He got raided because of his own law that he put into place. So it was really funny.
I thought I did see something about that.
Because it was like it was shortly after he got into office, he made a law. I don't know if it was an executive order, but he at least signed a thing into law that because of Hillary's emails and all that bullshit.
What do you mean bullshit?
What?
What do you mean by bullshit?
I'm just using it in a generalistic sense. Okay. But the empirical bullshit.
No, I see what you mean. Yeah.
But with everything that happened there, he put this thing in the law that was like, if anybody is caught with like federal documents, that it's a much tighter thing.
I see, like, my
punishment. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. I did hear about it. I didn't actually dive into it, but that's honestly, that's pretty hilarious. That it was, if that's true, like that was his law. Like, yeah, that's nuts, man. I do think he is, and I'm not like a Trump supporter by any means. Like, I don't think he's a good guy. I do think he is. I think it is kind of witch hunting in a way. I think it's kind of a desperate. It's like a desperate throw. Yeah. I feel like they're like, that establishment is so. Here's a real conspiracy theory that I have. I think Trump and Biden are on the same team. I think they're both on the team of the elite. I truly believe that they put Biden's in office to like decay the whole thing, so like Trump can come back in. That's my fucking conspiracy theory, man. I think they're on the same fucking team.
I'll put it this way. I don't know if I 100% agree with that, but at the same time, I would not be surprised. Like, it's one of those.
They're both old cunts.
Oh, like, yeah. No, 100%. No, I can definitely be on board. I don't like any.
They're both on Epstein's jets.
Yeah. I don't like any political parties, so I'm pure independent. They can both fuck off for all I care.
Have you heard of the Libertarian Party?
I have, and they can fuck off too.
Ooh.
I don't like parties at all.
What's your beef against the Libertarian Party?
Well, for one thing, everybody like hardcore libertarians make me laugh because I personally believe that there are some government restrictions, like the EPA and stuff like that need to be in place because people are, as a collective, are kind of dumb, and like there's a lot of people that are like people will decide what's important. No, they can't.
I disagree with that.
Yeah. Well, agree to disagree.
That's okay.
I think that. But I personally, I don't really like. It's the beef that I have is not like specifically with the Libertarian Party. It's with all parties. Like, I completely disagree with the fact that parties are a thing. Like, George Washington hated them. So do I.
Well, I think, to be fair, I think a lot of libertarians feel the same way. I think especially like the anarcho, which I'm not anarchist.
Yeah.
But like the people who are more anarcho-libertarian, like I think they believe that too. The reason that they are parties like to dismantle the parties. Like they want individual rights, states' rights.
Yeah.
But I mean, like any party, there's a spread.
Yeah.
Like they're the the very like socialist type of libertarians, and then there's a very like anarcho-capitalist type of libertarians. Like there's a whole spread. I think the unifying idea is just lack of government.
Right. And I think there needs to be like some government, because I think there needs to be like something to kind of, I don't know if order is the right word, but like kind of just keep. Well, maybe it might be. It's the closest thing I can think of. But just kind of keep some direction going with like some of the more important things. But like, I definitely don't think we need to have like a Big Brother situation going on for sure. Because I know like I know like a lot of people are like, oh, they're big government, like this just Big Brother spying on us all the time, and Patriot Act and NSA and blah 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 blah. And I mean, yeah, they probably are, but but at the same time, I think something needs to be in place as like an anchor, and that way people can focus on everything else that needs to be done.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with some of what you're saying. Like, I consider myself a minarchist. So like I believe like a dissolution of the federal level would be my ideal, then leave everything in the states.
Sure.
And like. I think like for basis like murder, like I think there needs to be something to govern murder.
Yeah.
Like and like there's the joke like libertarians hate roads, and like I think we need roads. I think we need because if businesses if businesses own roads, then like they'll just build all their roads to like negate other businesses, and that's not it's a tricky thing. I don't know how we fucking. This is the Macau Stars, man. This is how we roll.
Yeah, it was just like talking about music, and now fuck roads. Like,
did you know what you signed up for, man?
No, it's all good, bro. It's all good.
No, man, you've been a good sport. No, but like, I mean, fuck Trump. I like to ask everyone that. I like to ask everyone that what they think, if they think he's gonna win or not. I don't know. I think I'm surprised that they don't get DeSantis in there. That's like he seems like the candidate that would actually win. It's kind of which goes back to the conspiracy.
Yeah. I mean, is he planning on running? Because I haven't heard too much about him.
I mean, I don't think he's officially said anything. I think maybe there's been speculation.
No,
because I mean, he would be the next guy up that would do it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't.
You don't follow politics, really?
I follow some of the big breaking stuff, but I don't. And I understand that for anybody listening, I do understand that I'm showing my privilege here, but. But no, I don't, I am politically aware, but I am also somewhat politically apathetic. And I know it's not a great thing, but it's just like, I've got my own problems at home. I don't need to worry about the problems in the country at the moment.
Well, and that's fair too.
Yeah.
And like we were just talking about the Trump thing. Like I could have like listened to my shit, my podcast, and looked at my articles and got into it, but I was like, I'm busy.
Yeah.
There is a balance. I do think everyone should be at least a little bit aware and educated about what's going on, because I do think it's important.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I think that's a very like lacking thing in general of like the American population, is they have a very limited understanding of politics. Like they can tell you what drama is going on between whatever powerhouse political person, but they couldn't tell you like any of their stances or any of their policies or anything.
Right.
Like that's a problem.
Yeah. No, I do agree with that, and I try to like I try to explore when I can and look into different things, but as like a general thing, I'm probably not as active as I should be. And like I'm aware, I'm a man who's aware of his flaws. But no, like I said, I am aware of things. I do, listen in to different things when I can, but I'm probably not as, just not as active as I probably should be. I mean, I vote, but
well, hey, that's fair, man. Yeah. I'm probably too active. I used to when my parents, because both my parents were lawyers.
Yeah,
my father's actually a judge now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. No,
whatever.
I'm kidding. But no, like they would come home and my parents would talk about politics.
Oh, that makes sense.
Like they would just come over, they would just talk about politics for a half hour, and like I would just like be in the kitchen like doing homework on the computer or whatever, just listen to them talk about politics. So like they would always turn on the presidential stuff. Like my father actually, he like ran for political office, like county attorney, when I was like 10, 11.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I've always just like had like a root in like, I'm always thinking in that sphere.
Yeah, if you grew up with that in your environment, then that makes sense. That's just part of your, it's kind of part of who you are. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, despite what I just said about like the sentiment of I think it's important, I do envy people that are just like able to
tune it out. And,
tune it out. Yeah, because I maybe I worry about too much, but I do worry. Going back to the nihilism thing, it's tempting. It's like, does it even matter?
I know quite a few people that would probably believe in you, agree with you.
Oh yeah, probably more than a few men. I don't know. I don't think nihilism is a bad thing. No, I think it depends on how you what do you make of it essentially.
Yeah. It's like I don't think it's like the worst thing in the world. At all. Like I wouldn't even chalk it up very high on that list. It's just one of those things that it just really depends on the situation, because in some points it's like, like this, nothing fucking matters, let's go do whatever we want. And then there's some situations where it's just like, no, we need you to be a little bit brighter here, champ. Like
well, I think the key distinction is like, if and this kind of ties into libertarianism a little bit too, like whether you're harming someone else,
right? Like
because with nihilism you could do like the Hitler. I don't think Hitler was really a nihilist. People say that. I don't really believe that, because like a nihilist wouldn't have an end goal of wanting to kill all the Jews. They would just be like, whatever, you know. Like I people say he's a nihilist. I don't agree with that. But like, what was my fucking point with that? God fucking damn it. But but like when you're acting malicious, I think that like negates the whole like, oh yeah, just do whatever you want. Because if you're like inflicting harm on other people, then that's that there's like a human commonality that we all share, where we know that like inflicting harm on someone or acting malicious towards someone else is wrong. I believe that everyone inherently knows that at some level. So yeah, I mean, I think talking about nihilism, I think that's where that would negate that.
Sure.
Anyway, Zachary Daniels. You didn't even know what the fuck you signed up for. You're like, you drove 2 hours over here and you're like, fuck, we spent half my podcast time talking about nihilism. This fucking bastard.
Hey, I'm having fun, so that's all that matters.
Oh, good. I'm glad, man. Before we wrap up, is there anything you want to... Do you have any, topics on your mind that you want to discuss?
I guess just to wrap back to, the CD, it launches on all major platforms on this is why I wanted to come here. That, and I wanted to meet you. But
thank you.
Yeah. But my EP, it's called Keep It a Secret, which is fitting because I legitimately made everybody involved keep it a secret until it was time to announce. Because I had gone on hiatus for like 2 months, and I'm like, I don't want to just be like, yeah, I'm done with music for a while, and then like oh, by the way, I'm starting this new thing. But it's the EP is called Keep It a Secret. Launches on September 2nd. And yeah, it's 6 tracks. And I think y'all are going to like it. You can check out the single on Bandcamp, zacharydaniels.bandcamp.com.
Yeah. We'll have that link in the description for sure.
Cool. Appreciate it. And yeah, I think if you like alternative rock with, you know, some pop rock spins to it, then I think you're going to dig it.
Fuck yeah. Zachary, it's been a fucking pleasure, man. I really appreciate you coming on. I really liked your music.
Thank you.
And I like everything you do. Keep rocking.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Stay tuned. We'll be here every Wednesday and Saturday. Actually, next episode, we're going to have a real treat. So tune in for that. And yeah, otherwise, we got the Patreon. Go subscribe there. We got shit going. All right, everybody. Peace. Have a good one.
Bye.